should have sold tickets.
That's why I still say we need pay-per-view.
Pay-per-viewing.
If I can stay awake.
Oh, I'm so tired. I want to get a nap in before the meeting. That didn't happen.
You're too young for naps.
I need one.
You're supposed to go 2 days without rest.
I can't. I don't know how people do it. I can't do it.
I never could. I might go 1 day, but I pay for it.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I don't know. I know some people that can go, like Tim here, and work 12 hours and then go to work again. I can't do it. Yeah, they gave one away for like supervisor of the highway department. I think they had like administrative assistant or something. I'd have to. Someone's gonna nominate you. Yeah, that trophy or plaque or whatever you want to call it.
Now this
Central, and you get recognized in front of all the commissioners. Yes. Yes. 7. Okay. I'll probably make a motion for that. Are you asking me to like submit your nomination next year?
Well, you earned one. If you do what you did this year, anyway.
I'll write in the recommendation that she forced us to do this.
You were coerced.
We're coerced into doing it.
You ready? Call this meeting in order. All stand. Place the flag for pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call. Brett Luther.
Present.
R.D. Donovan.
Here.
Jim Yoakum, I'm here. Approval of minutes.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes as written.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. RJ, you want to talk about the...
Yeah, before we do approval of claims, I'd like to move the HWC contract up for approval because it's listed in the claims today, so to make sure that's approved. I would like to make a motion to approve the HWC engineering contract with the Vermillion County Commissioners.
Would you amend that to include the comments that have been made and agreed
Yes.
upon with HWC?
Yes.
I'll second that motion then.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approval of claims.
Make a motion that we approve claims, subject to the removal of the $300,000 from the economic development line item.
You have a second? No second?
I'll make a motion to approve claims as stated or as written.
I'll second it. Discussion?
The problem with the $300,000 is that we had the Economic Development Council, who has not been defined as a legal authority or statutory authority or by ordinance being developed. There's some arguments that this has been done underneath the Economic Development Commission. If you look through what the Economic Development Commission can do, there's nowhere within their purview that they can allow for granting of monies from the county coffers and or from the tax revenues. Don't believe that that's a proper assignment, and also it goes around what the county council, who did not vote on the particular line item, so it's basically circumventing the county commissioners and the county council.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, shall pass. Let's see here. Approval of payroll.
I'll make a motion to approve payroll.
Second the motion to approve payroll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Are you voting, Tim, or did you vote?
What?
Did you vote?
Yeah, I said yes. Open issues. We're going to do something different tonight. We're moving up to public comment to Next. Okay, we'll do treasurer's report next. Florinda, treasurer's report.
This isn't actually the treasury report. You should have that too. This is the interest earned for the month of November. The main checking account earned $4,455.24. You have to remember there was tax dollars still in there. The American Rescue Plan money earned $185.70, also in the main account. Trust Indiana only earned $34.46 for a total of $4,675.40.
What percentage of your money do you think is not interested, that is interested in you anymore?
There's about $700,000 in that.
The ARP money, is that subject to the interest that we derive off of that? Is that subject to the ARP requirements, or is that something that...
They said they wanted it tracked, and then they said you don't have to track it, so between the auditor and I, we decided to track it.
Okay.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have public comment tonight. We're going to limit the comment to 3 minutes, and when I say thank you, that means your 3 minutes is up, and I'll ask you to stop at that time, and ask you all to be respectful. Anything you have to say here, we appreciate you coming, and we respect your right to voice your opinion. So whoever wants to become first, it's your time.
John Moore, and I'm appearing as the president of the Clinton City Council. I'm concerned with statements that I'm hearing that are being made about we're coming to an agreement on increasing the load limit on South Main. Nobody has approached me, nobody's approached the City Council, and the ordinance, there's no plans to change it. The weight limit's going to stay the same. So I don't think we'll be telling everybody that it's going to be changed, because as of right now, there are no plans to change it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody else? Anybody else? It's your time. Don't identify yourself.
My name's Travis Newman, and I'm from Clinton. And I came because I'm kind of inquiring about the status of the health officer. Where does that stand now? Has there been another appointment been made?
How should we comment on that, Joe?
Have they brought you guys another nominee yet?
There has not been another nominee submitted to us yet.
Okay. Well, then I would like to speak in favor of Dr. Jones. I know his resume was brought at the last meeting and presented to you, and I'd like to voice my opinion that I would support that candidate for that position.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I will say this too, if anybody wants to talk to me after the meeting, I'll stay. I try to put my phone number out there if there's ever any problem. You hear a lot of stuff being said. If you want to call me, more than likely I'm there most of the time, but we try to make ourselves accessible. So, any other questions, comments? We'll move on. Next on the agenda is the Health Department. I hear they got an update.
Peggy Parsons-Palmer from the Health Department. The update from the Health Department, the Vermillion County fully vaccinated resident percentage is at 48.6. Total positive cases for the county is at 18.3 of the population updated as of 12/7/21. Last year reports are showing a spike in cases in mid-December. This year we have seen a spike in positive cases starting in September and been fluctuating since then. Vaccine clinics and testing are continuing. The majority of patients are receiving boosters at this point, and we have had around 10% of children ages 5 to 11 receive their first dose of Pfizer vaccine. Vaccines and testing clinic hours have changed from Tuesday and Thursdays from noon to 6 and Saturdays 10 to 1.
I asked you a question when you said 18.3%, and that was what is that? 18 point
Positive cases.
out of
Total population.
18.3 out of total population. 15,000 roughly. Okay, thank you. Next is Vermillion Rise. Bob Gruy.
Evening, folks. Bob Gruy, Vermillion Rise. Just wanted to maybe update you on our upcoming meeting. We changed the date to Tuesday the 14th rather than Thursday the 16th. Have a trade association meeting. I want to be at in Indianapolis, so the board was nice to change that. At our meeting, on our agenda, draft agenda, we're going to look at utility rate adjustments. You know, we've set those 10, 12 years ago and haven't touched them yet, and they're exceedingly low, so we want to start the process to do that. We'll start with a public hearing and get any feedback, and of course we've shared this with our tenants and whatnot. We think it is important, I might have mentioned before, but you go out seeking grants and things like that, people want to know what you're doing for yourself. How are you improving your own financial position to operate your utilities? So it's incumbent on us to look at our rates. Staff, we've been working on a 2022 budget that we'll discuss at the meeting, and it's more the same than not. However, it does bring to light, you know, a lot of the deferred maintenance programs that we just don't have the resources to invest in the agreed order to remove the reservoir from our water system. Our roads continue to deteriorate and things like that we'll talk about and see what investments we might be able to make with the resources we have. Those are really the key items. We're going to update our tenant lease agreements. Kelly's worked where we put them all on the same time frame, so we don't have to recall all through the year when everybody's lease is up, and kind of standardize that. So those are some of the high points.
You still haven't heard back from the Attorney General's office yet?
No, I thought I might have heard or at least got a question from them, but again, they'll have to staff it, and I'm sure they do a very thorough analysis. It wouldn't just be a one and done sort of thing.
One other thing we was going to say, we all three here were thinking about, if you just want to come one meeting a month on the morning meeting, what do you think, instead of having here all the time? It's okay if you come all the time.
Sure.
We're just trying to make it. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are quarterly, but unless there's something of significance.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, happy to oblige, whatever's appropriate.
Maybe send like a report to us or something, and then if there's something you want to come to the meeting and share with the public.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. And we did enjoy the idea of attending the EDC meetings. It's already been fruitful, and we look forward to more of that.
What we've done here in the county is now with the economic development and the RISE. There's two separate entities, and we always thought, how can we bring them together more? And so now I know that Tom Milligan usually is on both, but now you came to our economic development meeting the other night, and I thought it was good because you got two different boards, economic development and RISE. They need to be coordinating together. So this bringing together, I think, is an excellent thing, and it'll work out a lot for all of us. Britt, you want to give a jail update?
Do you want to do BTA?
Jail. BTA. Come on up here. We got two bids opening. You want to come up? You might explain to people what these bids are for?
I'm Les Zimmerman, Vermillion Trails Alliance. The bids we're opening right now are for the first leg of the Wabash Heritage Trail, which hopefully will take us from the Wabash River Bridge at Montezuma to the active rail grade, distance of about 3,100 feet. And we had a bidding process we went through a couple of months ago, and the bids came in way high. So we're rebidding and looking forward to seeing what we got.
We got two bidders on this. One is White's Construction, and the other one is, looks like J.S. McCullough Excavating, Coatesville. You only got one bid on there. There's not a bunch of alternates on this.
That is correct.
Okay. The one for J.S. McCullough is the lump sum bid for base bid was $206,810, and the alternate was $9,220. A total of $216.30 on that one there. We'll put that one back in there. The other one's for White Construction. The lump sum base bid is $318,000. The alternate is $15,000. So the total lump sum would be $333,000 on White's.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I would ask you, this is your project. Well, I would ask you to take those bids under advisement. Based on what I'm hearing, I think I'm not going to say we're within shooting distance, but we're within distance. We might be able to do some negotiations, adjust the scope of the project, and make this work. I don't want to go through this again. I would see this as us getting together, and you all being the owners probably need to be involved in that conversation. Us with the contractor and the engineers, and possibly with the granting agency, which is DNR, and see how we can get this thing to work. They're still over our budget, but we're getting a lot closer. We gained about $100,000 this go round.
Make a motion that we take the bids under advisement.
I'll second the motion.
You got a second? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
A couple little quick updates. We did, in fact, submit our grant application for the next leg of that project, which hopefully will take us down to a trailhead at the public crossing. We submitted that bid. The project is a $1.4 million project. We're requesting about $1.1 million from the Next Level Trails program. We got our bid in a day ahead of time on November 30th, or our grant application. One more update. The asphalt is done at Trailhead Park.
Good.
So we've got a nice asphalt trail out there, the Indiana Tree Trail, and also going to be the Storybook Trail.
That's within the park right there
Within
around
the
the
park
shelter,
itself,
right?
yes. And from what I understand, I've not seen it, but they did put a handicap accessible parking spot with an offloading ramp and an asphalt path directly into the shelter. And one of the picnic tables that your Parks Board put in there is a handicap accessible. So we're excited about that.
Good.
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, have the jail on here. Britt, you want to go?
The short of it is that we had a little of a hiccup with the shell delivery. It will come in at the end of January as opposed to the first part of January to the middle part. We've been able to restructure the critical path on that and bring the project back into alignment so that we're still looking at January 6th, January 4th, somewhere in that line of when we're going to complete the project. So the essence of it is that we'll still remain on budget and on time at this point in time.
So there'll be maybe erecting steel in January, or we'll have to wait till winter weather?
Actually, erection should happen here in December, of steel, structural steel. The shell will be at a later date, at the end of January.
And what's the projected date on completion?
January 6th, I think. It's either the 4th or 6th.
Okay. First of next year.
23.
Okay.
Not this year. Be nice.
Got to hear that. Next, we have a joint resolution
So this was presented to us, I don't know if... Yep.
Apparently we have somebody here.
Hello, Josh Zerner, President and CEO of Joink. RG, looked like you started asking questions.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna read from the
Okay.
last meeting you had presented this to us, and then after that we'd had a joint meeting with the council.
Yes, sir.
And we had talked about a timeline. If I know between you and AT&T had requested letters of support, and then you'd also requested, this joint resolution between the commissioners and the council
Yes, sir.
with a base amount of funding, which with our joint meeting with the council, we had threw out the number of $700,000 to apply for this next level connectivity grant or connections, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, sir. I have some updated maps. The state of Indiana today finalized its challenge process, and so at this time the number of locations that are eligible under the grant has changed just slightly. When I was here last, it was 138 locations. It's currently 109 locations. So I'd like to pass out, before we have too much discussion, an updated map and updated financial summary.
What was the reason for the drop, do we know?
I can speak to that right at the microphone. So hands are cold. That's the extras. Sorry, my hands are cold.
Thank you.
The locations that were removed were successfully challenged, meaning another service provider indicated to the satisfaction of the state that either they service that address or they have committed funding of their own or some other source to service that address within, I believe it was a 2-year future time frame. So that's why the number of locations have reduced from
Who
where
was
they were to
that?
where
Do
they
you
were.
know?
It varied by address. I have that information on my laptop. I'd be happy to pull it up, but I don't recall specifically. We actually scrambled pretty hard this afternoon and to incorporate that information in revising the estimates and the maps, and we spent more time making sure we had this right than understanding why those addresses fell out. So this is a very special and unique opportunity. The state of Indiana has made broadband funding a high priority. We're all very fortunate, in my opinion, to live in the state. They've done a great job with their Next Level program, and this is the Next Level Connections program that is focused specifically on broadband. It's a matching grant. At a minimum, we need to provide a 20% match, and the state would provide 80% funding. There is a rubric that is used to select projects. There is no guarantee that we would be awarded this project. It is a competitive process, and there's only so much money available in the state. And so in that rubric, it's possible to get additional selection points by providing a match higher than 20%, but 20% is the minimum. In the illustration that I've put in front of you, we estimate this project cost to be approximately $4.8 million of investment. As you can see in the map, the red line indicates the investment that Joink has already made in Vermillion County, and the white lines indicate the routes that we would plan to build. Joink's construction is all underground, and I would expect it to have a useful life in excess of 30 years. In the two financial summaries that I prepared, one is a 20% match, one is a 35% match. Joink's contribution in both scenarios would be the same. That is a contribution that is calculated based on the cost that we expect to spend in servicing a home in a average density where these homes are in very low density because they're so much more rural. And so in order to leave all of the addresses in our submission, we need to find an additional source to help make up the full match that is required, and that's why I've approached the county. It would be very exciting to me if we can leave all of the eligible locations in Vermillion County in our application, and that is what I've presented to you tonight as a proposal to leave all eligible locations in Vermillion County in our application.
And with the 700,000, that would leave all eligible
It-
in there.
Yes, sir, and it would have a match of approximately 22%, just eyeballing the math.
Well, I think this is a unique opportunity for the county, and I think we'd be kind of kicking ourselves if we didn't attempt to apply for this broadband grant and at least put up some funding for it. The council seemed to be in favor of it in our joint meeting. So with that, I would move for a motion to approve resolution number 2021-25 by title, a joint resolution of the Board of Commissioners and Council of Vermillion County, Indiana, allocating matching funds for the Next Level Connections broadband grant program, with the appropriated funds being $700,000.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, I do have one question. Has council appropriated this money?
I don't believe so yet. In that joint meeting, they'd asked the commissioners to kind of have a plan, and we got with John Spur and the auditor to put some.
But they haven't done anything?
No, not yet.
We won't be able to appropriate until the first of the year.
So this will be subject to the council's?
Subject to the council, yep.
Okay. Do we need to amend the motion then to include that? Subject to council's
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
funding?
it wouldn't hurt to make that.
Yeah,
clear.
I'll amend my motion to include the subject to the council's funding and appropriation.
No, withdraw my second and second this.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Major pass.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your support.
Do you want me to put an appropriation in for you guys for this?
Thank you.
For clarity, it's up to this council as to where that funding comes from,
Mhm.
correct? Like whether it's ARP or
Or yeah,
whatever
wherever
else?
they want.
Okay.
But are you requesting it from ARP?
From our joint discussion, I would put ARP down as one of them, and maybe, yeah.
Okay, I've got new
We're not
business.
limited to that though, are we?
No, I could
We're
probably
not
reach out.
limiting it to ARP money.
I just need to know what to put in the paper for what you're asking for.
Yeah. We could ask Ashley to list some other funds if she has other ones available to take it out of.
Okay, under new business, MJS insurance renewal for property and liability, George Smith. Where's George?
What was that for his roll down?
Before we get into the new business though, do we need to also give a letter of support to AT&T or not?
Yeah, that's something, before we get into that, AT&T and I believe Joint wanted a letter of support as well, or no? Both, yeah, so we both need to draft both of those, and then the council will sign those as well. Thank you.
George Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, George Smith, MJS Insurance, here to go over the county's renewal, property casualty, also the work comp insurance. First is your renewal. In your packet, if you basically turn next to the last page, you see this year's renewal, including tourism coverage, coming in at $124,323. And I'm sorry, right behind the first separator, I'm sorry. The very first separator I've got there for you. On towards the front a little bit more. So the renewal at $124,323, last year's expiring with Astra was $120,127, so we do have roughly a $4,000 increase on this policy. We did work hard this year. I appreciate everybody getting together, getting the vehicles straightened out. You know, from the property standpoint, all the departments were great about getting that. That's always kind of an elephant in the room, making sure we can keep the vehicles straight. So I think we finally got it, you know, spot on.
It's not reflective of claims. I've got your claims history in there also, and you know, you had a decent claims year. It's just nature of the beast this year with the cost of everything. It's going up a little bit. So this is with Astra again, and they were the best bid I had on this once again. So it was roughly about a 2.2% increase. The work comp this year, once again, everybody was fantastic, making sure we made a few changes on the work comp, reclassifying everybody. Not everybody, but we had some classifications that were wrong, got those fixed. Last year, your expiring on work comp was 48,309 through IPEP. This year, even though your payroll went up, your renewal's coming in at 45,251. So it actually went down even though your payroll went up. But we worked really hard to make sure we had everybody classified correctly. So with all that, you know, I would like to obviously keep your business and ask that you approve these so that we can get ready for the January renewal.
We have, where's the cybersecurity? What firm is that with? That's not with Astra, I take it?
The cybersecurity is in with Astra.
Which line item does that fall under then?
Well, and going with the cybersecurity while I'm locating this, did you have you moved to what they call MFA up here yet? Multi-faceted authentication, I believe it is. There's something that I would advise you to take a good look at, because I have no doubt that by next year I'm not going to be able to offer you cyber without it. So.
Okay.
The MFA, it's we're all familiar with it when you go to your banking site and then it sends you a text on your phone. They're requiring that on almost all computer systems with government entities now.
It's not a condition for this. It's not a condition for this year, so.
Not a condition for this year, but just be ready for it. Their insurance industry is taking a beating on cyber.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Yes. And Britt, exactly where they have the cyber on this, I am on this
Is it
proposal.
under terrorism or?
It does include terrorism, the price that I quoted on that.
I know. Is cybersecurity underneath that section?
No, two separate things. It's just built in on the base policy.
Okay.
So.
So you need approval for this tonight, is that?
With the holidays coming up sooner than later, just simply because we're going to be looking at a 1/1 renewal.
Yeah.
And hurry kidding, my underwriting staff at these companies right now is already starting to get low.
So you say our workman's compensation went down and our liability went up 4,500, is what you said?
Yeah, liability and property went up. Now, and also keep in mind on the property, the values of your structures went up. We have it built into where they go up between 3 and 4% a year. This year was 4%. Not the premium, but the value of that building.
How's the jail enter into this?
The jail, we have the jail covered except for the builder's risk. We have the builder's risk written through travelers, but so part of the jail's being covered through Astra for the current structure. Any of the renovations and changes made to the jail is covered underneath travelers for builder's risk.
What do you think that the rate will go up with that, with the new jail being built? I think it's going to be a substantial.
It's not going to go up as much as the builder's risk ran us, but it's just not as much. It'll go up, and it's just going to depend on the total value. you know, on the jails. Let me find your jail real quick. You have a lot of buildings, so I apologize.
Shut that door.
For some reason, I want to say we had the jail, the current
Yes,
jail,
how does
9
this,
million.
how does this reflect as the jail, by the end of this next year, the jail will be pretty well complete, minus occupancy and a few line items?
Well, once and the traveler's policy I wrote for the builder's risk runs from September to September. Okay, so it's one that's an offbeat, just due to we needed to get it going. So it'll expire in September, and at September, before September, we'll take a snapshot. If that's blacked in, you know, to where it's got the windows, the doors, the items like that, at that point, you know, we'll have an option. You know, do we keep it under the builder's risk just in case, or we can switch it over to this policy.
Okay.
What is the value, though, in this current policy for the jail? Because it has a certain $4 million value at this point, but by the time we get through, regardless of whether September or December of next year, that value is going to be something closer to 20,
yeah, the
26,
value of
28
it's
million.
going to go up tremendous. Right now, we have the jail valued at $6,195,000.
Okay. Now, how's that change as the year goes through? Because it's going to be worth, by the end of next year, it'll be worth more, closer to 28 million.
Exactly.
So does this policy cover 28 million going into next year?
No, that's where your builder's risk comes in.
We'll cover that.
Yes, the builder's risk, and I don't have it in front of me, so I apologize, but
That's
I want
fine.
to say we wrote it for 24 million or 26 million.
For the builder's risk, that's fine.
Yeah, through the builder's risk.
That doesn't include, there's other things included in that 28 million, but,
That's right.
all right.
I'll make a motion to approve the MJS insurance renewal for property and liability with Astra Insurance.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion.
What are the changes in our policy from last year? I did review last year's policy, but I've not had a chance to review this policy. So what differences do we have?
The only differences you have in the policy, as far as the liability, all of that stayed the same. Going back to the vehicle schedules, you know, the county has sold a lot of vehicles, purchased some vehicles. Once again, and I think RJ, you're the one that sent me the request on that.
Yeah, making sure we weren't paying insurance for something we didn't have anymore.
Exactly,
So.
and and once again, I appreciate that because I don't know unless somebody lets me know. So we went through, modified the vehicles, removed the ones that were sold, added the ones that were purchased. The other thing is changes to the policy are the building values. Like I said, they have a built-in inflation protection. It's insurance industry as a whole. Your homeowner's insurance will go up 3 or 4%, you know, for the value of the structure.
But other than asset changes, is there any changes to the root policy?
No.
So it's all
It's
same through the whole.
same thing.
Okay.
And one of the nice things Astra does, that a lot of companies don't in municipalities, is they do what they call silo on their umbrella. You have the excess liability umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
Most companies, that will just sit over certain items. Yours is a silo, so it sits over your law enforcement liability, it sits over your general liability, it sits over all liability versus excluding anything. So you do have that excess liability there.
Okay. Thank you.
It's my fault.
Tim, you want to call for a vote for that?
Yeah. Go for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion passed.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Florinda Pruitt, you still in Florinda? LD Mail Masters.
I think you guys have a copy of the service agreement. Britton made some notes on it, but the notes didn't come out on my printed copy, so I'm not sure what changes, but we're gonna go back and take a look at that. This is the first time we've done this. In the past, we've just hired them, they do the job, and we pay for it. So it's the first time, and they said they don't have any other counties that have ever asked for this, so.
This is also due with the state requirements somewhat.
When we get ready to print statements, yes, the state tells us what goes on the front. We get free rein on the back. And so I don't expect any changes on the back of it. But we never know what the state's going to do on the front of it.
It indicates that we're going to provide them all the artwork, if you will, and set up with all that in the right format. We have that. Good. I make a motion that we approve the services agreement for the treasurer by title services agreement, subject to the edits that were provided to the treasurer on the report, on the contract agreement.
I'll say.
Go ahead.
No? You want it?
Now call for a second.
I'll second his motion.
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have redistricting. Bill Reynolds could come up. I appreciate Bill's been a big help on the redistricting. Just an overall view of what happened. The state required us to do redistricting due to population changes within districts, and we had to try to make it so the districts were almost as much as possible equal in population. And you want to go ahead and discuss what we had to do on the changes?
Yeah, the changes that were
Identify
recommended.
yourself, Bill.
Oh, Bill Reynolds. Changes that are recommended are to move Vermillion 1 precinct from Council District 2 to Council District 1.
No, it's not Vermillion, is it? It's
Vermillion 1.
okay.
And
Okay.
move Fairview 1 precinct from District 3 to District 2.
I also want to say that we coordinate this with both Democrat and Republican parties. We worked together on this, and everyone's in agreement with, correct? That
Yes.
we talked to, and it's something that we had to do. It does displace Neil Costello. Well, put it this way, he just moved. He moved three houses up. He didn't realize, but now he moved out of his district. But it will put Fairview 1 and 2 back together, right, in the district.
And Vermillion 1 and 2 also.
So that makes it better to have both of them in that district thing. So, what else we need to do on that? The original was that there's somewhere 10 or 11 years ago, and I had you look at, and you got me one document. The other document actually gives a legal description of the precincts.
1993 gave a full boundary, street, etc., and that is a requirement, that those all be specified for the district. It'd be great if you could just say these precincts have been identified, refer to the precincts, but I'm afraid we're probably going to have to do the lines around.
Describe them, and then we also should
Right.
include a map.
And a map. And if there's any conflict, the description prevails over the map. So yeah, you do need, both of them need to be done. It should be done by the end of the year as well.
So what all we need to do to help you out and us get you guys to get this done?
I'll get one of the past districting ordinances from Brenda, get the language describing the precincts from Bill, put together a draft ordinance, get it to Bill to look over, and then when he says that he thinks it's got everything right, then I'll send it to you guys.
I think we have it
So
now by.
you guys have access to all of the boundary descriptions?
I don't know if I do or not. Brenda
Right.
was looking for the past ordinances.
There was a 93 ordinance for, I think,
may have that.
a couple of precincts.
If you've got it, that'd be great. I just need a starting point.
Yeah, somewhere the precinct boundaries have to be on record, and just combine those to, go around the perimeters.
If you have the exact ordinance or resolution, if you could provide that, make it easier on the search. I think I may have it.
We had a copy of an ordinance that was sent to us, didn't we?
Yeah, the 1993 ordinances.
1993 dash what? Need any idea?
We could forward that to you.
Probably got it.
It'd just make it easier if you have it.
But like I said, the Democrats and Republicans came together to make this work, so there was no question.
What date does this need to be completed by?
It says in the year following the census, so it'd be this year coming up.
I never knew when the consensus was final. It seems like they were always
That's
feathering
2020 census, so the 2021 would be the year following. And they want to have it by the end of the year.
Put that on the high priority.
I think we're looking at a December deadline.
Sure.
I don't know what the penalties are, but we would like to comply.
So we'd like to have that for approval by next meeting.
The next meeting.
That'll be done by the end of the year.
Sure.
Okay, so who's going to write the ordinance?
I'll spearhead writing it, and when I think I got it, I'll get it to you. And when you say it looks okay to you, we'll send it to them.
Okay, I cannot verify the boundaries. I don't have that information.
I'll do my best to gather the information and put it in the right form.
Okay. All right. We good?
Plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. This is exactly what I-
Commissioners, an announcement for 2021 hours report for reserves, and handle that.
So I wear a lot of hats in a small rural area, and one of those hats is that I'm the head of the reserves under the sheriff. And one of my yearly duties is monthly we compile who's volunteering how many hours. These are completely unpaid hours. They come out and patrol. They stand by at football games, basketball games. They foot patrol around the county fair. And I keep track of those hours for the sheriff. Well, as I was doing the end of the year report, I totaled up the hours and saw that they had volunteered a total of 4,075 hours, actually 4,075.75 hours. And that's between just 18 people that are reserves. And so kind of on a whim, I asked Brenda, what's the hourly rate of a full-time paid deputy? And she sent me that hourly rate, and I plugged it in my spreadsheet. And when you work it up, that's volunteering $90,481.65 worth of time to the county. And I asked some of the guys to come tonight. A lot of them work and are busy, but Dan Ellis and James Miller Jr. were able to come here tonight. So
let's give them a hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of volunteering. Appreciate that, really do.
It's not an easy job either.
Not an easy job.
Some of the events that you also attend to, wasn't it the Newport Hill Climb that they were?
yes, but we do get a donation made to us for that, so I didn't include that in it.
Is it an adequate donation, or do
It's pretty decent. They donated $3,500 to the reserves, who put in 400 and some hours of time directing traffic, and there's 4 ways into the town of Newport, and what has to be done on hill climb, there has to be a detail on top of the hill for safety to make sure no car is coming down the hill while an antique car is racing up it. We have to close the road at the caution light entirely and only open it for like wreckers or ambulances. Then there's traffic direction at 50 North, which is the main entrance to the parking lot. So we'll usually have a 3 or 4 man crew there directing traffic. And then the 2 back roads in need someone stationed there because those are for local traffic only, so we have to post someone there. It's 2 good 12-hour days, plus probably Thursday night we're out getting traffic control devices in place, and there's a couple planning meetings leading up to it, so it's a good bit of time they put in.
Do you help with the Little Italy also, or is that all Clinton?
That's Clinton.
Take care of that?
Clinton does that.
Okay.
Well, John,
Thank you, gentlemen. That was very, very nice of the donation you made, basically. Maybe you can write it off on your taxes next year.
Yeah, John, thank you for the report. I mean, I don't think anybody, especially the public, quite sees these hours that these reserves put in, and they're an asset to the community, and I just appreciate the 2 that came tonight, and especially the other 16, 17 that...
We had 2 put in over 500 hours, and 1 guy put in over 600 hours.
Wow.
So
We appreciate each and every one of you, so thank you.
Very good.
Definitely.
Thank you again. Wabash River Heritage Corridor.
We already did that.
You what?
We already did that. We opened up the bid.
No, this is for an appointment to the commission.
No, we didn't do that. You almost got me.
Sorry, she's only sorry.
Wabash River Heritage Corridor is a very important part here in the community. I know that in the past we've had 2 appointments to that. I haven't, it was Les Zimmerman and Larry Southard, I think, are both been the 2 that've been on that. Are they gone? Is Zimmerman gone?
Yeah.
So,
Les is the alternate, is he not?
yeah, I think he is. But that's the 2 appointments to that, so. They just want to continue resolution that we're going to be part of that organization. You see the resolution?
Yep. Are those 2 members still wishing to serve?
I don't know that yet. We'll find out.
Okay.
I probably will.
Do we need to make a motion at this point to continue our involvement with them? Is that what this?
That's what it is, a resolution confirming participation in the Wabash River Heritage Corridor Commission. We're just going to continue to appoint people to that board and be a part of that organization, is what I'm trying to say.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2021-24 by title, resolution confirming the participation of Vermillion County in the Wabash River Heritage Corridor Commission.
I'll second the motion.
Yeah, some discussion, Britton.
No, I'm pleased with this.
Okay.
It's something I think we do need to continue. It's one of the goals is to actually have a trail eventually up the Wabash all the way for the full length of the Vermillion County, connecting to some of the other trails that are coming into the county from north and south. So I think this is an important step to continue our involvement in where these are going and what we might be able to do and also leverage. So
I think the funds come off that from the property around the river, the gas reserves underneath the river. I think that's where it comes from, doesn't it?
I don't know the funding source. That is one source, but I don't know if that's a source for this particular line item.
Okay. We got a second discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? We got anything, we got a list of the issues of serving 2 boards. We're going to talk about that at the December 21st meeting when we have appointments. Is that acceptable to you all?
That works for me.
Okay. The HWC, we've already took care of that, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Is there anyone here representing Apex tonight? You want to come up if you got something to say? Appreciate it.
You got a question for that? You got a question for that?
Hey,
Who?
my name is Patrick Chilton.
What?
Patrick Chilton.
Okay.
Do you have any
Yeah,
specific questions?
we're just wondering what's going on in the county as far as with property owners and what exactly is your plans with property owners and where Apex is going. And there's been some question in the community, so I wanted to see if we get clarification on that.
Yeah, so we're kind of doing 2 tracks of work right now. We obviously have the wind and the solar project. With both projects, we're still working to acquire land. With the wind project, as you all, I believe, have been made aware, Megan, I believe, sends regular updates on the work that we're doing on the wind project, where we're trying to solicit a lot more community input and feedback on the actual ultimate design of that project. We've opened up our leasing to pretty much everybody from all the way north, all the way south of the entire county, and are continuing to work through that process. We have a couple of land agents in the field who are out, again, talking to property owners. On the other side of the wind project, we are continuing our effort that is titled Exploring Wind Vermillion to, again, receive feedback on where folks think a project could go, what kind of things we've committed to some form of a community benefit fund should this project eventually be built, and so we've also been soliciting feedback on where that money.
When you say eventual project be built, what do you mean by a project?
If we were to get to the point where we would have a wind project, that would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you currently signing leases for wind projects with individuals, property owners?
That's right.
And the purpose of that is you got potential of putting wind project here in Vermillion County, you're saying?
We are continuing to explore that, yes.
Okay. And you guys got any questions on that?
I don't. We have an ordinance.
Yeah, I'd say we have an ordinance. I'm not. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. We have an ordinance passed, and so I'll leave it at that.
We are, as I said, we are continuing to do work, and in the new year, we are hoping to do, again, more substantive and more expansive community engagement, and we would really love to have county engagement on that. We earlier in this year, we did a larger survey of folks to hear what kind of issues they were most curious about, what they had questions about specifically regarding wind energy, and who they would want to hear from about those questions. So if they were curious about, say health issues, and who would they want to hear about on those health issues to answer their questions. And in the new year, we're going to be kind of taking those issues, finding the people that folks want to hear from, and trying to hold some events in the county. And in those, we would really love county engagement to make sure that folks are getting to those and being able to ask their questions and continue in that dialogue.
And that group was a group out of, was it Washington, or the group you hired to do that survey? Someone had come here and
Yeah, so we have engaged with two facilitation. It's kind of hard to describe, I guess. They basically are professional facilitators, and they work to make sure that conversations like these are happening on a
And one of them had already conducted surveys, right?
Yep. Yeah, so they were going around having discussions, I think early January, February, March of this year.
And that individual or that group you had hired, when they came here, it was my understanding that all the data they collected, you guys would not share that with the county. You would share your conclusion, but you wouldn't share the raw data from the...
There's an element of ensuring folks who participate retain their privacy, but we are happy to share the results without revealing which individuals are saying what.
Because it's my understanding it was just going to be the conclusion, which didn't really mean a whole lot if you can draw a conclusion from anything. So.
Right. I mean, and I can go back to the team and see what kind of specific raw data we'd be happy to share. Yeah. But of course, again,
that's what I would like to see, if there's any data that Apex is willing to share, that it be raw data, not the conclusion of anything.
I can go back to the team and find out exactly what we'd be willing to share.
Do you see the House Bill 1381 come up again next year?
I'm not a part of our state team, so I cannot speak to whether that would be brought up again.
Anybody got any questions for Apex? Thank you for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Megan had said she wouldn't be able to be here. She's in the state, but she's putting some miles on the car today and the last couple days. But wanted to make sure that we could get here, and if you had questions, we were able to answer.
How's your solar project going on?
We are doing some internal work on that to get to the point where we can bring something to you all. I think I can't commit to a specific timeline, but relatively early in the new year.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We done with the meeting?
We're done with the meeting.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
What did you want to say something on Tim's award before we adjourn, or do you want to?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sure some of you have seen the award sitting up here tonight. Tim, our president of the commissioners, was awarded, I'm going to make sure I say this correctly, the Distinguished County Commissioner Award for the Central District of Indiana. I believe there's only 3 given throughout the entire state of however many commissioners we have, so it's a very big award, and I'd just like to congratulate Tim and give him a round of applause for getting that.
Well deserved.
Yes.
Got a motion?
With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Discussion?
Any discussion? Or?
No discussion.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you